Today we are doing lesson 8.6 in our Go Math book. We're going to measure in inches and feet. The essential question is, why is measuring in feet different from measuring in inches? We're on page 409. So today they're going to ask you to measure the same distance two different ways. So I would like you to stand not too far apart from a brother or sister, or mom or dad, whoever. Take a piece of masking tape or a sticky note, put them on the floor where you're standing and put them on the floor where the other person is standing, and you're going to measure those two distances. The first way they want you to do that is to take a piece of paper, just a piece of paper like you might have, maybe it's a paper that you've done your spelling or your English on, or maybe it's a piece of paper from your printer, it doesn't matter, but fold it the long way. So they want you to use this piece of paper to measure. So do two of them, actually. So if you have two of these, you can put one on the floor right by the first sticky, and then put the other one right next to it so that you can measure. And if you still have more room, take the first one and put it on the end of that and see how many pieces of paper it takes for you to measure that. The second way they would like you to do it is on your paper, they ask you to use large paper clips. Now you may not have a box of large paper clips at home, and really you only need 2 or 3 if you want. But if you don't have that, you could use anything that's the same size. So you could use Legos that are the same size, you could use cubes that are the same size, anything that you have that's the same size. And so when you go to measure that space again, you're going to start your paper clip or whatever you are using right at the first sticky that's on the floor. Put the next one right next to it, and then hold that one. Move this one over, kind of doing a leapfrog. Count as you go to see how many paper clips or cubes or Legos it takes for you to measure that same distance. Okay? So the math talk today is to describe how the length of a sheet of paper and the length of a paper clip are different. Well, here's my sheet of paper, and here's my paper clip. They're not the same, are they? We can see that the sheet of paper is much longer than the paper clip is. So if you're measuring and you're using the paper, do you think it will take more of the papers or more of the paper clips to measure that space? It's going to take more of the paper clips because they're smaller. So it takes more of them to fill up that space. All right, let's turn our papers over. And we are on page 410. Now, we're going to look at the top where it says model and draw. 12 inches is the same as 1 foot. So we have rulers that we have been using, and this is 1 foot if you use the whole thing, and 1 foot is 12 inches, and you can see that you have a 12 on your ruler right there at the end. A 12-inch ruler is about 1 foot long. You can measure length in inches and also in feet. The real table, if you had a real table in your house, is about 60 inches long. So I would have to use this ruler more than one time to do that. The real table is also about 5 feet long. It's the same measurement, it's just being done two different ways. It's either doing it as a foot or as inches. And if we count the inches, they tell us that it would be 5 feet long. That means you would use this ruler 5 times to go across. So the first time would be 12 inches, the next time would be 12 inches, the third time is 12, the fourth time is 12, and the fifth time is 12. And if we add that up, 2 and 2 is 4, 2 more is 6, 2 more is 8, and 2 more is 10. So the 0 goes down here, and the 1 goes up here, and then we've just got a bunch of 1s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 60. So it takes 60 inches to be the same as 5 feet. Now when this paper was created, it was created thinking that you would do it in the classroom. And so they're asking you to use a ruler to measure to the nearest inch, and then do it again and do it to the nearest foot. So you might not have a classroom desk at your house. Do you have a coffee table that you could measure across? Do you have a TV tray that you might sit at to eat a snack and watch the TV? What do you have that would be about the size of this? And what they want you to measure is right on the floor, go across it from leg to leg. So first you're going to do it as inches, and then you're going to measure how many feet. You all have windows in your house, so you can do that. Measure across it, how many inches, and then do it again, how many feet. And you all have doors, and they're not asking you to measure how high that door is, they're asking you to measure across the bottom of it, so you can do it right on the floor. So how many inches, and then how many feet. Take your paper and go to the next page. And these are the same thing, how many inches and how many feet. So again, these are classroom things. I'm going to ask you to find 3 different things at your house. You don't need to do all 5 of these. So find 3, and if you don't have a chalkboard, then just put an X through that and write over here what you did measure. You might have a poster at your house. Instead of a teacher's desk, you might measure your kitchen table or a counter. Instead of an easel, although some of you might have an easel at your house, and this one's measuring how high it is, it's going up, you might measure a chair that you sit in, maybe the chair at your table. And then a bulletin board, again, you might not have a bulletin board, but you could pick something else. So do 3 of these. I'm going to say that right up here. And make it fit to what you have at your house. Okay? And then turn your paper over. And on the back, it says use a ruler to measure the length of a real shelf in inches and in feet. So here in the classroom, of course, I have lots of bookshelves. And I measured using my ruler. Actually, I had to use a couple of rulers. And when I do that, I take one ruler, and then when I get to the end, I put the other ruler next to it. And if it's 2 whole rulers, then I would add the 12 and the 12. Well, when I measured my bookshelf, it was 36 inches. And then I counted how many feet, that means how many rulers I used. And it might not be exactly right at the end, but this one was. This one took 3 rulers to do that, so it's 3 feet. So one of my answers was 36, and one of my answers was 3. So it says, look at your measurements for the shelf. Why is the number of inches different from the number of feet? There are many more inches than feet. Why is that? Why is this number so much bigger? In number 11, Stephen is telling his brother about using a ruler. Which sentence is true? 1 inch is the same length as 1 foot. 1 foot is a greater length than 1 inch. 1 inch is a greater length than 1 foot. Or inches are not used to measure length. Which one of those is true? And when you have completed all of those, then you are done with your assignment.